Next item on the agenda is any other questions or comments? Okay. Project updates, and again, this meeting had a bit of an abbreviated agenda because we had just met 2 weeks ago and had handled some of the things we would handle today. On the incubator, we should be at the point of beginning construction in the incubator very soon. We have met with a marketing consultant to help develop initial rules for the incubator and to assist in the initial marketing. We also would like this consultant to help us write a job description for the permanent position and help us go out into the market and fill that position. We have hired a person, Jimmy Stein, through Employ Florida. I think, is it Employ Florida now? No. Career Source. Sorry, I had it. Anyway, through there to be the building manager and maintenance manager and the fill line operator. We've met for 2 days with an incubator specialist from California. We do not know at this point what additional involvement this person will have in the future. Lots of ideas. We're still sorting through, and as we develop, I think that this person will be a great resource for us. I would like to do individual walkthroughs with each of you in the near future as your schedules will permit, to discuss the planned floor layouts and to help you better understand the fill line and the machinery components that will be going into that part of the building. So, you know, it's moving along really fast now. I'm a little disappointed because we're about a month behind from where I would have liked to have been, but just making all of the permitting issues related to the building work out has been somewhat onerous. As to the Commerce Park.
Wait a minute, are you talking about one employee at this point?
He is the employee that will be the heart and soul of that facility. And he will be the one that actually knows all of the equipment on the fill line, has an understanding of how it's put together, the mechanics of it, and the entire building. And he will be initially paid for out of the IDA grant and those applications.
Yeah, I understand that. I just want to be careful that we're not doing these people's work for them. The paddleboard and the whoever else is in there.
No.
And that when we don't get involved in running their business
No.
is what I'm concerned about.
No.
You know, and I don't think we should be doing their marketing or their bookkeeping. So I don't,
Well, we're trying to comply with the grant. And I mean, I'd be glad to show you the grant and let you read it, and then you can decide whether or not we need to reconsider our involvement.
Yeah, I think we should. I think we should have a discussion about it because to me, once you get the building and you have a lease or whatever you're gonna do, you give them a key, they go in there and do the work, and we don't try to run their business. Now, if the fill line is a problem, then I could probably understand that you need somebody that knows about those type of things. That probably somebody that's coming in there does not know how to run a fill line that needs to use a fill line. I mean, that is reasonable. But I don't want us to get so involved in their business, their marketing or their bookkeeping or trying to tell them how to run their business. That's just me. That's the way I feel about it.
I concur with you, but there are protocols related to the fill line, and we have to make certain that those protocols are put in place and that someone manages it.
I agree. I agree that the fill line is something that I'm assuming that if somebody from out of the county wants to come in there and lease space or time on that fill line, that we'll do that.
Yes.
And you need to have somebody that's probably health department certified to clean the thing and all this kind of stuff. That does make sense to me.
And it is a large building. There has to be opening and close down procedures in order to manage the building. And we're trying to position ourselves in the best way to move forward with the development of the entire building.
Okay.
Bill, will he also help in the marketing of the incubator?
He won't.
He won't. Basically, we'll do it through the girls.
We want to utilize a consultant who basically has had experience with Whole Foods. We believe that they offer one of the most likely avenues of marketing for some of the production that's going to occur in that facility. And this person, though, we're not hiring on a permanent basis. We're using their expertise and competence initially to either take it internally and advance it, or to hire yet a person that can specialize in that. I do expect, next bullet was, I do expect at least one more application for the incubator this year that will be utilizing some of the production line. I also have talked to a company that would like to be using part of the fill line for bottled water. Bottled water would be simple to do, and it could take up a lot of the slack in between the cosmetics or honey production, and it's not something that requires a lot of cleaning. So I don't know exactly today what all of the production scheduling is going to be in that building. We're just trying to be in a position where we can manage it when it happens.
Will we utilize our website to maybe help market that too, our county website?
We can. These are things we're in the process of developing right now.
Mike, are you talking about marketing the building, the incubator building, or marketing the products that come out of the
Incubator building.
the building
Try
itself?
to get more business started up in the county.
Okay, all right.
Any other questions?
One thing I'd like to say, Bill, there's gonna be plenty of wells around here. Maybe we can get on this bottled water deal.
Yeah.
Well, you know, if we develop a niche bottled water, and there's no telling. I'm not certain how much money's involved in it, but if we go into private labeling, it's fairly simple to
I think
do.
some orange grows right across the road, isn't it?
Yeah,
Tie into it.
I've got some on mine.
Here at the Commerce Park, the site work for Floracan continues. As you leave today, you can glance to the south and get an idea of the volume of earthwork that's taken to get prepared for that. We also are planning a groundbreaking ceremony that will be at April 8th, Kristen, at the April 8th meeting, and we probably will plan on having that April 8th meeting back at this same facility too, because it'll be easier for us to coordinate the groundbreaking, and we have specific procedures relative to advertising for that we have to follow. We also, depending on timing, may have an open house walkthrough tour of PF Man at that point in time. You will see it when it shows up on the agenda. The first phase of the retention pond is completed through excavation. Those of you that have four-wheel drive vehicles, if you'd like to drive down there as you leave today, it'll give you some idea about how the retention pond is shaping up. We will continue with permitting the balance of the retention pond in concert with the zoning and site plan process. The staff report from planning and zoning related to the zoning change has been completed. I received it yesterday. I will forward it to each of you today. I have met with the appraiser, reviewed the property, the surrounding neighborhoods, and we'll expect to have a report from them, and they will also make a presentation at the planning and zoning meeting, and it's scheduled now in sometime in April. I can't recall the exact date.
It should be third. Should be third.
Another project, Fort Greene LNG. You know, this is not a direct EDC IDA initiative, but the office has been very integrally involved in this project from its beginning. I think we're going to see a real ramp up in activity with that project, and it has a lot of potential for this community. Just keep your eyes on it, and that's as much as I can say at this point in time. Bio-nitrogen, the company continues to report progress. As most of you are aware, they are looking at other sites in other counties, whether they will have multiple sites, multiple facilities. They also are very excited about some opportunities in Louisiana. We'll just continue to monitor their progress as we move forward. PF Man, this company continues to catch some criticism. I think they've done everything they have committed to do for us. I have great expectations personally that they are going to exceed everything we ever expected them to do. Their components for their engines are coming in, and for me, it's very interesting to see how they're taking these components and patterning them on three-dimensional, oh wow, I forgot. What is the three-dimensional CAD referred to as?
Modeling?
Anyway, they take these parts and they're putting them into the CAD, and then the CADs will be used to control robots to put the parts into the CNC machine. And it's just a technology that we've never particularly been exposed to in this community, and I think it's a great opportunity for us to have that here. In the April meeting, I want to come to you with specific proposals related to spec building number 4, in addition to presentation of the grant applications that will be submitted to the EDA. We also did the site work or earth moving for the spec building number 4, which is the lot immediately south of the PF Mann building, and you'll hear something specific from me, a proposal in the next meeting.
Is that, we talked about this last time, about pouring the floor. You still plan on pouring the floor on the spec building that we have no tenant for?
I'll give you specifics on that at the next meeting, and you will have an ability to make a decision certain or leave the floor open.
Well, I know, I'd say 3 or 4 years ago, that was your position, is not to pour the floor till we got a tenant to make sure that the plumbing and the wiring that has to be put in the floor.
Well, I hope I can tell you we have a tenant.
And, well, then
With
that'll be
floor
good.
specs.
That'll be good.
And a chance to alter the floor specs if it has to be thickened in a reasonable, cost-effective manner.
Well, if we're gonna let jets in there, then we can do that. But I just hope we don't go ahead and pour the floor and then have to come in there with saws and start cutting the floor up to put in pipes. You know what I'm saying.
I do.
That's just a waste of money and time.
I do.
Okay, thank you.
There are still 2 large confidential projects. They are both agriculture in nature. I have spent a lot of time with these folks over the past several years. One of them is gaining more momentum than the other. They are both dependent on fairly large sites, generally reclaimed sites. The consolidation, merger, acquisition of CF and Mosaic has kind of slowed down any of the real estate activity relative to those projects, but I certainly feel like once they can get the acquisition done, we can roll up our sleeves and really go to work on identifying some appropriate reclaimed sites for these projects. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions?
Not a question, but along those lines, Bill, when we look at the people we have out here now and the different companies and all, have we ever tried maybe doing an evaluation where how they felt about IDA's help in getting this and what we can do to improve, to help our other customers, or, problems we've had with the counties, or sometimes, just different things that we might be able to address as a committee to help out on some future deals?
I can tell you, Mike, I get feedback from folks, and they feel very well accommodated. Coming from me, that's not a credible source. But I would say to each of you, if you hear criticism of our service level for anyone that comes to this community, makes a call, let me know. But I believe for the most part we bend over backwards to accommodate them. Initially, from the information standpoint, placing them with planning and zoning people, letting them meet different entities in the community to see if this is the right place for them to come. And I certainly don't have any problems trying to figure out how we get them to evaluate our performance, and I support that.
Well, I'm thinking of this, not only ways that we might improve our service, but it might also give us some added, pluses in the arena out there, that we
Sure.
have done a lot of good things, and, other people might be able to be exposed to it, whether it's paper or, some different things that wouldn't hurt us any.
We are working on a spreadsheet that identifies the sum total to date of every project the IDA has initiated for the past, how far back are you on that, Sarah?
inception.
from the beginning, and we keep hoping to produce it for you, but we keep thinking of additional information we need to put into it, and this suggestion may be something that we want to consider as a part of that spreadsheet. But it's a way for us internally and as a board to evaluate everything we've done. It would be a document that each of you have. If someone says, what's going on, I don't understand, it will show the investment, it will show the lease, or help you understand where you can get that information in a very quick, short period of time.
How many lots do we have left?
There
North of the-
there are basically 2 lots in this part of the park. The vacant one up between Pacer and the NutriPure building as you go out on the left side. That lot, I haven't really pressed to do anything on that lot for 2 reasons. It is one of the lots that has a back entry, which a lot of companies prefer. It can have a rear loading dock without a lot of, these other lots on this side, we've had to change the entryways and go all the way around to get into the back of the building because there's no road on the east side of the park. And 2, I'm waiting as long as I can to understand what NutriPure's capital plant facility on the east side of the road looks like. And I really, out of respect for what Pacer has done, I feel like if we put another building there, we need to have it more with an architectural design that supports what they've done. I'm not particularly interested in us putting a metal building on that lot. We can, there's nothing to keep us from doing it, but it's kind of the lot that I'd like to hold back as long as we can. On the east side of the road, the only lot, there's actually 2 lots remaining. One is the one that we're proposing for spec building 4, and the other is the lot between PF Man and Florican. Because of the potential for both of those companies to grow, I feel like we have to hold out and let either of those companies decide through growth whether or not that lot's going to be appropriate for them. Again, that's the reason that we have initiated moving forward in developing the southern part of the park. And so, I mean, you really are down to the 2 lots. And it will take us, I'm guessing it'll take us about 18 months to 2 years to get the infrastructure in the park over to have additional lots for sale.
I'd hate to see us cramp Florican. I mean, I think that thing is gonna be a big asset to this county. And
That's why the lot is staying.
Yeah, I would caution us not to put something there quick, because they may need more, may need to be bigger. I mean, I really think they're a legitimate manufactured company, and we just don't want to cramp them. My God, that'd be terrible to cramp them, and it just impedes their operation.
Well, if anyone asks you, that's why that lot remains there.
Well, I think that's smart, because they,
That's all.
I really believe they're gonna make a difference.
One other question, is there any conversation going on with the lot north of the truss plant? What's his plans for that?
Pacer?
No, north of the truss plant, he owns that, I understand what,
Just through observation, they are using more and more of that vacant space.
as the economy turns around?
They have ramped up, and
They have.
I think if their growth continues, they'll use all of that space eventually. And then the other lot by Pacer, as
Owns
you
that
recall,
one.
bought both of those, and they are continuing, their employment has been extremely good for this community, and they have some plans to increase some of their engineering in this community, and I'm pleased with what they're doing too. So.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Financial report?
The first part, if you'll turn to Wicks Brown's contract for accounting services. Should have gotten that in your packet, so hopefully you had a chance to at least look over it. I will let you know that we did do an RFP for accounting services, and Wicks Brown is the only response that we did receive. So at this point, it's now up to the board to decide if they would like to enter into contract with Blix Brown and if you agree on the terms that they have proffered. And Charlie is here, if you have any questions specifically for him.
Everybody had a chance to look at this. Is my guess is I read it through, and that is certainly not my expertise. But it looks like rather the one I've ever read.
It was pretty standard. I mean, if you want to, just to give you the breakdown, if you don't have it right in front of you, how their fee structure does work. A partner is at $170 an hour. The CPA is $100, and support staff is at $65.
So what are you saying? It's $300 or $400 an hour? All you saying is the partners get $170 per hour, and then the CPA $100 and the staff $65, and you add those three together?
Not necessarily. The partner may only be doing, 20 minutes of that hour, or the CPA is doing a larger portion, support staff is doing a different portion. So, you're not necessarily going to be paying that exact amount. You're going to break out the $150 an hour based on 20 minutes.
Okay.
So you'll pay whatever that figure is.
Okay.
I will say the bulk of the work is going to come at fiscal year end, as it did this past year, when we're preparing everything that Clifton Larson Allen needs for the audit. Outside of that, it's pretty routine. We're not spending much time on it monthly. Christie does a good job. We're just kind of reviewing it for different accrual accounting.
I can't hear you back there.
Did you use the mic?
I'm sorry.
I'm not.
The bulk of the work is really comes at fiscal year end, when we're preparing all of the audit work papers for Clifton Larson Allen and doing the various accrual entries in the budget process, the budget reconciliation and amendments throughout the year. Outside of the October-November window, really getting that ready for them, we really don't have a whole lot of time in it on a month-to-month basis. Christie does a good job. We're just kind of looking it over for any accrual entries or any budget amendments based on what the board's approved to make sure your budget's in compliance.
We probably will have some additional work for you this summer as we go through the next phase of the operational audit. I don't know what the Auditor General is going to require of you, but you probably need to plan on spending some time.
Yes, we'll do whatever is requested of us at your approval. And we worked into just the standard engagement letter wording. We worked in the language that was put into the request for proposal as well.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
So you need some action on this?
We do. We need to make a motion to accept the contract and enter into services with them.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and second. Any further comment? Questions? For the board? All in favor say aye.
Wait.
Well, I'm sorry. What?
You're voting on something. I thought you were supposed to.
Come up and give us your expertise, Frank.
I'm speaking from Frank Perkins, Bowling Green Park. I'm speaking from probably what a lot of people would speak to if they read this thing. This thing gives Mr. Lambert a heck of a lot of authority, even to pick a committee to look at stuff and what have you. And we don't appreciate that. We don't think he's competent to do those things. And I think the board.
Who's we?
We.
You got a rat in your pocket? Who's we?
Him and the other one.
Me.
Okay,
Take it
say
that
me
way.
then. Say me. Say I don't appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't appreciate it.
Okay,
That
now
make
we
you
got
happy?
down to it.
But I presume there's quite a few others that don't too.
That's a pretty big
But
assumption.
anyways, we've watched this and seen this.
You said we again.
Yeah, well,
You mean I.
my computer's teaching me to do that because it says don't use the first person. So
Well, we like the first person. We like you, so we like you to
Yeah.
say I.
So that's the reason I'm doing it that way. I don't have a big education, but my computer.
You don't need an
tells me
education to say I.
how to do grammar, and it says we is more proper. And are these people doing the bookkeeping monthly, and then Larson Allen is gonna come do an audit at the end of the year, or how does this work out? I wasn't sure what exactly they were doing. I've had accountants before, I had to have a big one at one time, and I just turned, every month I sent him in the mail certain documents, and then he sent me back a report, giving me my profit and loss and sales tax and reconcile my checkbook, and I seen they were gonna do checkbooks and stuff. But are they gonna, is that what their job is to do the month-to-month accounting, or?
We are still going to continue to do the in-house operations that we have been doing as far as check writing and the QuickBooks, keeping up with that, entering transactions. We also have Wix Brown that accesses those QuickBooks to make sure on a monthly basis that all of our transactions that we're recording
And they're journaled
are
correctly.
done correctly, and the journal entries are in there correctly. So they will have kind of a secondary oversight of what's being done within the office. And then they will be solely responsible also for doing any reports that have to be, our 941s, those types of things that have to be sent out. We do not do those in-house.
Okay, well, that's what I was thinking, that's what my accountant's doing, is that. I was kind of concerned about this, we're still having a fit about this agreed upon procedure crap. I mean,
But that's not a part of this.
no, but it gets into audit and all. But anyways, that's the main thing out of the top of my head is you do not need to give one man too much authority in these things, because it puts temptation there, it puts the possibilities of mistakes there. The board should be making decisions on
That's not in this
certain
contract.
things. And if you
That's
don't-
not in this contract, they said, that he's got
There's
sole
nothing in here
authority.
about a committee or Bill having the sole ability to appoint a committee of any kind.
There is in one of your papers that he.
Well, one of them, not this one.
Okay, well, I know it's there.
Well, but we're talking about Wix Brown's contract for accounting.
Okay.
All right, thank you for your comments. I think your 3 minutes have got to be
Oh,
up.
well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Yes, sir.
I got one question.
All right.
This is dated March 13th, this letter. What, that's today?
Yeah.
Was this submitted to the board today?
This was in your packet that was sent out to you.
When did this
It was
come?
dated today because that's the day they figured we'd
Right.
vote on it.
They post-dated it for signature purposes.
Yeah.
They
for
forward
today.
dated it.
Yeah, that was in the packet with the
Or
sound.
for-
Forward dated, okay. That's unusual.
Any other questions or comments from the public? All right, we've had a motion that's been made and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you. We look forward to continuing to working with Bill.
Thank you for the
Christie.
good work.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
All right, financials. EDC balance sheet. As of February 28th, we had a little over $1,400 in the bank. We had made a draw request, and it is in there now, but when the reports were produced, the draw had not shown up yet, so we do have that money in there now. If you flip to, are these numbers this month?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, mine are. What page do you
Okay.
need?
Go to the profit.
Page nine.
My pages aren't numbered, I'm sorry.
Page 9.
Profit and losses on page 9.
What is yours?
Next page.
Okay.
Got it?
Page 9. We took in $1,000 in rent And our expenses for the month were pretty normal, $23,378.90. One point to mention, if you'll look under expenses in the regular salaries category and then payroll expenses, you'll start noticing a little bit of a difference in those categories from now on because we have entered, into payroll services with ADP. So now, whereas before, our salaries were, and all of those costs associated with the salaries were in our regular salary category. A lot of that stuff now is coming out, and we have a new category that encompasses our services with the ADP, which causes a difference in our payroll expenses. So there's not any additional money we're spending, it's just a formality of how QuickBooks is now associating
If that's the
those
professional
costs.
services number?
Payroll expenses.
No, but the professional services number under, is that some of the ADP expense?
No, sir, that's typically attorney
Okay.
outside fees.
Okay, so you're saying that y'all get paid now through this,
We do, they cut our
okay?
checks.
And that includes workers' comp and stuff like that?
It does,
Do you think it's saving us any money
it is. Yes,
by
sir.
doing something like that?
It is, the costs associated with adding the workers' comp, and the current policy that we had that was just an individual policy, the cost is a lot more beneficial.
Does that include health insurance too, or
It doesn't include health insurance yet, but that's. the
possibilities there?
company- Exactly.
Okay.
We have the possibility of coming, obviously, and getting those benefits through them.
Okay.
So that's pretty much all I have to report on that particular page. If you have any questions on the ensuing pages, the general ledger is next, and our payroll summary, I'll be glad to answer those. Move the one thing. Are there any more questions on those pages? If not, we can flip to page 19, and that will take us to the IDA financials. Balance sheet, as of February 28th, we had $2,768,620.73. And then if you'll flip over to page 20, that starts our profit and loss by class. Again, this is different from previous months. We've now broken it out into projects. So if there's any questions on a specific project, I'll be glad to answer it. Otherwise, I just want to make some notes on just a couple of line items.
How many acres in the Grove?
74. Grove acres or acres?
Is this all the fruit income, or are there any?
No, that's just the
No,
earlies.
that'll
Just
just be
okay.
the earlies.
I will say though that we picked some of the lynches with the earlies because they were hitting the ground as many as we could.
Yeah, I understand.
But the lynch crop still looks fairly decent.
We get a rise on the,
We do, we receive a rise. If you look at page 22, under administrative, you'll see that $30,000, almost $31,000 in expenses. That is specifically for our auditing expenses over the last quarter and previous audit we had, so yeah. Just wanted to make mention of that. So that includes our work with Larson Allen and Wicks Brown on those services.
is it normally that high?
We haven't had one.
Yeah, it is really hard to answer that question because every audit so far that we've had has been so, detailed and abnormal, going back farther than what you typically would. And so I think that in some ways, no, this isn't normal, but I can't qualify that statement.
Let's hope not.
All right, moving on. Again, our general ledger comes next. If you have any specific questions about that, I'll answer those. Otherwise, expenses for the month were pretty normal. We had the accounting and auditing that was kind of an expense that's not usual, but the other ones were pay apps to Half Acre for Commerce Park services for the buildings, some to Hunter Engineering for Lot 13 for the earthwork, and that's about it. So unless there are any other questions, we can approve the financials.
Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
A motion is made and seconded. Any discussion for the board?
Lost the sound again, I think.
What is that? I'm sorry. Motion was made and seconded. Ask for any discussion from the board. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. All right, we move on to authorization for the chair to sign the engagement letter with,
That's done.
No, we did that.
y'all jumped ahead of me? It's just not fair.
We didn't authorize that.
Okay. All right, how about any announcements from the board, any other comments or the business from the board?
On Wake's Planning.
I would like to say something. I've just been really impressed by how this board's worked today. The discussion was really, really good. And, I'm just pretty, if you want to grade today, I'll grade your name.
Well, thank you. I wish that would have been universal. Thank you. Any other comment from the public?
I agree.
I'm sorry. Okay, thank you.
I agree.
Any other comment from the public? Yes, sir, you're on.
I'll agree with them too, but I'm not sold yet. But it has heard some good stuff if it continues to work like that. I wanted to talk just a little bit. I've got page after page on the Continuum agreement deal. And I just made it into a couple little notes. First of all, I would like to know if you agree that IDA is supposed to be operating as a business.
The IDA operates as an entity to bring economic development to Hardy County.
Partnered with businesses, you're actually doing business. Okay. Then I would add that you need to consider the return on public investment. I'm not getting into great big details. Okay, you were talking about what if this company sold. If they sell for a loss, we're gonna lose. We are gonna lose, the county. If they make a high profit, if they do a sale and they make a high profit, I think that we should try to make a little bit of money for what it's not just the money you invested, it's all the time it's been sitting there. It could have been sitting in the bank and drawing a penny or two, you know. But I think you should be considered writing in there in simple language that when these people leave, they're going to owe you a minimum period, and then if it should go in arrangement of what they've already put into it, but mostly in a chart for if they sell it for $100 million, $500 million, have some percentages of that IDA should make as a profit, as a return on investment for the public. I don't see where that would be a sin. And it'd be a little more in line with the guidelines that the statutes give. Okay? And then I would think when you get into doing this, do your very best to get it in simple, safe language. You know, And then you don't go 3 paragraphs down as almost every agreement does. And you got a good thing in there that one of the companies has to produce certain things every month, every quarter, every year. It's right there written in, but then you go down a little bit further, it says, if IDA asks for it. That should be taken out. It should be that they have to do these reports and justify what they're doing.
Your 3 minutes are almost up. Wrap it up.
Okay, well, I'm getting close. Okay. And this, I noticed Phil getting a little edgy on this hurry up stuff a while ago. You need to, that's what's got us in trouble already, is the hurry up stuff. And the last comment, I guess I'll just try to do it out of my head, is this gentleman back here, Mr. Scott, with Continuum, I see through what he's asking for. He's asking for a contract that does just like all these other does and protects the people involved. They don't got no real fallbacks. They get rid of it to protect these people where they can walk away from that.
Thank you. Any other comment from the public? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I'm the chair. We have to elect a vice chair. Do we have nominations from our board for a vice chair? No, I don't do that. Ken does that.
You can do that.
I can do it?
I do that in the absence of
Okay.
the chair.
All right. Do we have any nominations for a vice chair?
I nominate Gene Davis.
Okay. Any other nominations? Somebody move nomination cease. You do that.
Yes, I do.
You know what that means?
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Welcome to the B&O Railroad. We do need a vote to approve that. We've had a nomination of Gene Davis as vice chair. We've had a motion, the nomination cease. We probably should have a second at that motion and vote on that to be correct. Do we have a second to the motion, the nomination cease?
Second.
Okay. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now we will vote to have Gene Davis as our vice chair. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. You can't vote against yourself, I'm sorry. All right, welcome aboard.
You've been cursed.
Yes, now, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, by consensus, we will adjourn, thank you.